the top down, smoking on a fat cigar. Cool breeze in my head, bittersweet smoke flying through the air. It's the way I feel, smoking on a fat cigar. Look at sweet mama watching me play guitar. She got long black hair and she's smoking on a fat cigar. Black silk stockings and the finest of wine. Those curves and that stomach, she's looking so fine. It's the way I feel, smoking on a fat cigar. Fancy clothes, diamonds, and big fine cars wouldn't be the same without a big old fat cigar. Talking about the master plans that'll make us go far. Such a beautiful magical dream. Looking to the end, we're holding all the green. It's the way I feel, smoking on a fat cigar. Big old fat cigars. Big old fat cigar. Big old fat cigar. Top down, smoking on a fat cigar. Cool breeze in my head, bittersweet smoke flying through the air. It's the way I feel, smoking on a fat cigar. Look at sweet mama watching me play guitar. She got long black hair and she's smoking on a fat cigar.
Ocean Master, right? And Lisa and Bree from the 724 Lounge. And they're all coming via Skype from their own undisclosed locations. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing?
Excellent.
Now, this is how the podcast is going to work. The first half of the show, we're going to review a cigar. The second half of the show, we're going to review a pipe tobacco. This video and audio that's being recorded on Facebook is going to be edited and put into a audio format that will be available on Monday on Podbean, Spotify, all the places you get the podcast from. So this is like the raw footage from which the final podcast will be taken. Obviously, we're not all together, so Kendra can't make us all cocktails. So we all had to do it ourselves, people. We all had to do it ourselves. And I got home with basically enough time to unpack my bag, run, get the ingredients, throw them into my glass, and I hope I did it right. And we're starting off with our cigar review, doing the My Father Bijou Box Pressed Torpedo. It is a Nicaraguan Puro, wrapper binder filler, all Nicaraguan, 6 1/8 by 52. This is a wicked popular cigar at Twins. And it's been around for a while. The Le Bijou line, the original blend was done by Jaime Garcia to honor his father, the very, very popular Don Pepin Garcia. And Pepin added the 1922 to the name to honor the birth year of his father. So that's a little bit about this cigar here. And we are pairing it with a rum-based old-fashioned. Kendra, are you there, Kendra? Is she there?
I'm here.
You're here. Okay, very good.
She's there.
Kendra, talk to us a little bit about what an old-fashioned is.
Oh, an old fashioned, very simple. You have sugar, bitter, your spirit, and then an orange peel. And most like a cherry added on, but the original was not the cherry. So really, it's a pretty misunderstood cocktail, though. I say that again in establishments, but really it's those simple ingredients. And I think the ladies on myself, Bree, Lisa, we're doing a different version of that. We're doing it with chocolate bitters and Grand Marnier. So that way we have a little bit of a dip paired stuff.
All right, very good. Mine.
Give a shout out.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Kendra.
I see that Mikey 10 Beers is watching. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. All right. What did the rest of you do? What did the rest of you do for your old-fashioned cocktail? Lisa, why don't you start?
Well, I used Appleton. It's a Jamaican rum.
Okay.
And I used it with the chocolate bitters as well. So it's similar to what Kendra and I think Bree is drinking.
Okay.
Same rum, obviously.
Paul, what about yourself?
Well, Kendra made mine for me before she left tonight, so I'm assuming.
That's not fair. That's not
Oh,
fair
it
at all.
is very fair, my
That's
friend.
not fair
It is
at all.
very fair. Yes, whatever it is. Thank you, Kendra.
Damn.
Oh my God.
Oh, ouch.
Wow.
So I'm assuming. What?
Again.
We all know Kendra's favorite is Brett. It's not you.
Oh, Brett's MIA, so until he shows back up, I guess it's me.
That's awesome.
Nick, what about you? What did you do?
I used Bacardi 8 with an aged rum. They start using the 8s and it goes up 10 in the limitada and the special reserve for more of a sipping wine. So I used that with
Sipping
it.
rum?
Yeah, so it's more of a sipping rum versus your Bacardi Clear or your Bacardi Gold, which is more for mixing.
Okay.
So the Bacardi 8 I used for this old fashioned with aromatic bitters because that's all I have, and it's good. I do it all the time, so
why am I not surprised?
Yeah.
Dave, Dave, what about you?
Well, I didn't go with rum. I just stayed with my Four Roses that I had before from last time. On a budget. So that's what I'm going with.
All right, that's cool. Now, Bree, what did you end up with in the old fashioned there?
So I have realistic, and hypothetically, if I were at home, I would have plantation in it. I still have that bottle from the Christmas trade party.
Yeah.
But I also have the same as Kendra.
Okay.
So we on par with Paul.
Right. I had happened to have a bottle of the Bruegel 1888. And
what is it?
The Bruegel 1888.
What's that?
Rum.
From where?
Bruegel.
Show me the label.
We've had this on the show before.
It's called Bruegel?
Yeah.
From where?
Yeah. I don't know where it's from. I got it from the liquor store. But it's a very good rum. I put that with some Grand Marnier, some bitters in there, and I didn't have oranges, but I did have some cherries. So I put a cherry in it. It tastes pretty good. I had some guidance from Kendra on how to put this stuff together, and I guessed at the amounts. That's if you're what's the ratio of rum to simple sugar or Grand Marnier or whatever you're going to put in there to sweeten it, Kendra? What do you normally do?
So I know, like Nick was saying, how he likes to douse his sugar. So typically it's a sugar cube, and you douse it in bitters. But for us at the bar, we make a simple syrup, and you put roughly a half in there, maybe a tad less, and about 3 dashes of Angostura bitters. And then for the rum, the bar.
Okay. So now that we've all talked about what or not drinking, what do we all think about the cigar here? You want to say what you are tasting? What kind of flavors are you picking up? And how do you think it's going with what you're pairing it with?
So when I first lit the cigar, I got some initial mellowness. And then after a few puffs, then the peppers and leather started to kick in. So I'd say a little bit of earthiness, a little wood, definitely a lot of leather and pepper. The drink is actually hiding some of the leather and pepper and actually bringing out more of the sweetness of the cigar.
Nick, what about yourself?
Out of the leather and sweetness, tad bit of pepper on there, but I get the drink is bringing out the leather and the sweetness in the cigar. Very smooth. Very medium full body on this cigar. It's not a light cigar or a medium cigar. I'd definitely say it's a medium full cigar on that.
Dave?
I'm definitely getting some earth and leather. I feel like the Four Roses is definitely bringing out the spice and the retrohale for me. It's burning pretty well. And it's nice and smoky. Really good, Dan.
Well, it is burning, so it should be smoky, Dave. That's what cigars do. Yes.
I meant smoky as in the volume of smoke, but whatever.
Well, you have to tell people what you're experiencing. Lisa, what about you?
So I've smoked this cigar several times, and I think it starts off smooth. I don't take the pepper yet, but
Yeah.
like I get the orange, and I think with my drink, it's bringing out a little bit of chocolate. Believe it or not, I like it. I've had it plenty of times, and it's a good cigar.
Bree, what about you? What do you think of this torpedo?
So for me, right off the bat, just like Paul said, I got pepper. For my first like 5 or 6 puffs, I really pegged it as a full body cigar, which it is. But the drink actually almost makes it feel more medium bodied. It kind of brings out. I get a little bit of like the cacao notes, like Lisa's saying, and I think that the orange also kind of brings out a slight fruitiness underneath the pepper.
All right.
I think the sorry, Dan. I think the bitters from the drink is actually hiding some of the pepper and leather notes in the cigar.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Paul on that one.
Yep.
I get a lot of unsweetened cocoa on the cigar. I get some earthiness. There's, a little bit of spice here. Medium bodied, maybe medium plus. It's a very smooth cigar. Like I said, this cigar is really, really popular. We have guys who buy this by the box for themselves at the bar and smoke the whole thing amongst themselves.
That's right.
Amazing.
Lisa will know that.
Yeah.
Yep. Now,
I have the chocolate bitters in my drink, and I think it makes the cigar taste a little more creamy with the chocolate bitters.
All right. So, Paul, you have the chocolate bitters in your drink, right?
Do I, Kendra?
No.
Bitters, I have to ask her because she made it for me. It's the bitters, the orange peel, the rum, and what else?
And simple syrup.
Simple syrup.
So, who else has chocolate bitters in their old fashioned?
And Lisa. Oh, yeah.
The ladies.
Just the ladies.
All right. So, I know Kendra doesn't want to talk about how the cigar tastes, but Bree, do you think that there's a creaminess to the cigar that might be increased by the chocolate, like Lisa is saying?
Oh, absolutely, there is. Like I was heard before, I didn't really take a sip of the drink until I was about 5 or 6 puffs in. Almost getting to that point where it's like full pepper, and then once you take that sip, for me was when all the other notes started coming out, and that was when I think right now is probably the peak of the creaminess and like the cigar rounding out. So I'm alternating probably about like 4 puffs of the cigar with like a sip of the cocktail, and it's making for the ultimate degree of creaminess and pepper. So
now, Bree, this is your first time on our podcast here. You're one of these people at Twins who you do work up at the bar, but really you're more of a behind the scenes person. You're in charge of social media and everything. You want to kind of introduce yourself to the audience, say a little bit about what you do at Twins, and maybe what you do outside of Twins that you feel comfortable sharing. I guess that would be nothing.
I guess not. She froze. Somebody send
she froze.
Text.
She froze. So we'll wait. We'll wait to see if they're able to come back and get into that. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about too was a little bit of what was going on at Twins. We're open for curbside service. And that seems to be going pretty well. People are getting more and more used to that way of doing things. calling up, asking for what you want, paying for it, and then coming down and picking it up. And that's going great. Something else that's happening is that Kurt, Kendall, and Sean have asked us, as Not Just Blowing Smoke, the podcast, if we would host cigar events, virtual cigar events for them. And of course, we said yes. And we don't have a ton of details right now, but we are looking to do our first virtual cigar event at Twins with Ashton. We're going to have the lovely Lauren Ferraro on the show with us. She's been on the show with us before. And we'll be interviewing her, talking about Ashton Cigars. And we will be announcing some specials that Twins will be offering through the curbside pickup service that people will be able to take advantage of the week following the podcast. And there might even be some specials that are available for you who are watching the show live. We're still working on that, trying to work out what that could be and how it would work. But I'm pumped about that. I'm pumped about, trying new things. This is one of these times in business where I think you realize the really successful people, the people who are going to make it through this, are going to be the business owners who are willing to adapt and change and get creative about how they do things. And I'm really excited that Kurt is, on board with that, and he's leading the company that way. I'm very, very pumped about that. What do you guys think? How important is creativity, especially in times like this? You don't know when something like this is going to happen, and changing your business model to adapt to what's available to you, like doing curbside service, I think is something that's really important. I don't know that everybody's been able to do it, and I don't know that everybody's going to make it out, but I know it's going to be the creative people who make it. What do you all think?
Well, I think the opportunity to do an event like this will open us up to a whole new audience as well.
Yeah.
And whenever we do an event, Kurt, Bree, Sean, they go all out to let our customers know about it through all different social media avenues. So by doing the virtual event through the Not Just Blowing Smoke podcast, will serve two purposes. It will give people a reason to watch our show, take advantage of the specials, but also be able to actually have an event to partake in where otherwise they wouldn't. So I think it's going to be a win-win.
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm on my third.
Dave,
what
do you think?
Rum so
Oh boy.
I'm just kind of
Okay.
enjoying the moment.
Yeah. All right. You can't be drunk when you're on the show. You have to get drunk after the show.
I'm far from drunk. I'm just saying. I just
can't speak or think. Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
It's not every day that I get to sit by with a rum fashion and smoke a Bijou here. So I'm just trying to enjoy the moment a little bit. But yeah, definitely on what Paul was saying. You know what I mean? Being, the businesses that have to adapt and overcome in situations like this will prevail, I believe. And with us, with Bree and Kurt and Sean and everybody giving ideas on social media and Not Just Blowing Smoke and telling the customers, it's a great thing. And we're reaching a new audience. And once we get back, it's going to be great. It's going to be great for the business, great for us, great for everybody.
Bree is the social media person. What do you think about this whole thing? I know that this whole aspect where we've all of a sudden been told to get creative and figure out ways to do new things has been exciting for you. How's that made you feel? Has that made you feel like maybe has that increased the importance of your role to the Twins team?
I would definitely feel like we're more busy than when the shop was open. And I mean, it's because and collaborate and pull together. Like Dan and I, we've been working on kind of just like figuring new methods to kind of keep the same events and like community aspect place, and you know, like Nick, Sean, Paul, Kendra, like all of us kind of like bringing our expertise to the table, and then it's kind of up to the background people to portray it and put it out there. And yeah, just it's like a work in progress, but it's really exciting in my opinion. It's an opportunity.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Why don't we do one of the regular segments, Cigar Confessions?
Is this one going to be more of a rant than a confession, or?
Well, it's this isn't going to be so much of a rant, but before I get to that, you know, I think I just need to say how well that this cigar is burning for me. It's got a great burn line. The ash has been fantastic, and I haven't had to worry about relighting it or touching it up. So the construction of this is really on point. It looks like everybody else is having similar experiences, but you know, one of the things that I love doing as I smoke a cigar, especially something like this, is to do something called retrohaling. And haling is the practice of when you've drawn the smoke into your mouth to exhale it through your nose. And this isn't about breathing it into your lungs and then breathing it out. Cigar smoking is a tasting and smelling thing, not a breathing thing. You'll pass out if you try and breathe this stuff. But your olfactory senses, i.e. your sense of smell, your nose, is organically and intimately connected to your sense of taste. And your taste will pick up a whole bunch of different things and get heightened versions of the things that you're tasting on your tongue when you retrohale your cigar. Here's my confession. I love doing it. I do it all the time. And I don't understand why other people don't do it with cigars.
Because some people can't do it.
Can't or won't.
Probably won't. But for a long time, I couldn't. I just couldn't.
You wouldn't. That's what you mean. You wouldn't.
Well, I tried in the past, and I couldn't do it. I was too afraid to do it because I kept inhaling the smoke, and it was destroying me. But then I got the hang of it. I was smoking light cigars, and I was able to do it smoking the pipe, but never was able to do it smoking cigars. So tried it here and there, and then I got the hang of it, and every cigar I do it now, I retrohale, and I probably do it every other drawer of the cigar, and it gets more and more taste through that cigar. I get more and more flavor out of it. Mm-hmm. It's a great thing to do. If you can't do it, you should definitely try it and get used to doing it.
All right. So Nick, you have just admitted that it was
brother. You froze. You're frozen.
Oh, I froze.
All You're right. Frozen.
All right, I'm gonna pick up where Pastor left off here.
Go ahead.
So, he's trying to call back in.
He's jumped in.
All right. So I'll just say real quickly that I never really used to retrohale that much, but I have since I started working with people. To be honest with you, I'm not picking up price off my phone.
Paul, you're sounding really, really faded right now.
Is that because he just called in?
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. Fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just saying that if I'm not picking up any spice off my palate from a cigar, I'm definitely going to be picking it up from the retrohale.
Oh yeah.
Because specifically, if the drinks that we have will help to enhance a lot of those flavors that we have from the retrohale as well. So I definitely retrohale a lot more than I used to.
Yep.
So, Nick, what I was trying to say before I apparently froze myself was that you admitted two things. One, you didn't know how to retrohale without inhaling the smoke, and
Correct.
you were afraid to do it lest you pass out on the floor and perhaps ask a question about your manliness. How did you get over that? How did you work your way through that to do it? Because I think there are other people out there who don't retrohale who have those same fears.
I did it. When I first started doing it, I only did it on lighter cigars. I couldn't do it with like a knuckle dragger or an AJ Fernandez or a Factory 57 from 724. I couldn't do it with stronger cigars because it was just too strong. It was too much for my nostrils to handle. So I started doing it with lighter cigars.
Your nostrils.
My nostrils.
Your nostrils couldn't handle it. Okay.
My senses and my adenoids couldn't handle it. So, Kendra, she's back again. All right. Hey. So I started off with just lighter cigars and started going from there and doing it a little bit, doing it lighter and lighter. And then I eventually elevated my game to more heavier cigars. And now I'm doing it with everything.
Mm-hmm. Dave, what about yourself?
Hey, Danny, you're frozen up, buddy.
You're frozen again, brother.
So.
Go ahead, Dave. You got the floor.
All right. Well, I smoked cigarettes for almost 30 years, so retrohaling was just something I did. So I've always been able to retrohale a cigar. What was hard for me was not inhaling the cigar smoke, because I'm used to inhaling the smoke. So I had to learn to hold the smoke in my mouth and blow it through my nose without inhaling it first. So that was hard for me. But when I help people learn how to retrohale, what I think works, what I've seen work, is if you take a little bit of a breath first and a puff from the cigar, and then just exhale through your nose. So that way you already have a little bit of air or something in your lungs first to push out. And it seems to make it easier because then you're just trying to normally breathe.
There you are, Dan.
Yep. I think my surface was getting hot because the way I had it set up, the air wasn't able to keep it cool. So I've had to tilt it a little bit. But I should be good, I think, at this point. Lisa, do you retrohale your cigars? I'm curious.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Why on God's green earth would you not do this amazing thing?
Because
she doesn't want to dirty her nose.
And that. Yeah.
Wow, that's the evilest laugh I've ever heard in my life.
Well, I'm not as advanced as you guys are, so me, I'm just gonna take it easy. I never smoked cigarettes, so
right.
I really would probably die if I tried to do that. So I'm pretty content with it the way I know.
Well, it really does enhance the tastes and flavors, and even the smells of the cigar to do it. I know that there are people who, for whatever reason, choose not to, but I've found for myself it opens a whole other aspect of experiencing the tobacco. And so I will really want to encourage you people out there who are listening and watching the show, if you are not retrohaling, give it a try. Give it a try and see how things change when you do it.
Rod says that it works also if you chew after you exhale, and you can pick up extra flavors if you can't retrohale. And I would agree with that too.
Are you a chewer, Dave?
I am definitely a chewer.
Yes. How did I know that was true? All right. Let me see what I have here on my things here. So what is the final verdict on this cigar? The Le Bijou 1922 Box Pressed Torpedo.
The cigar on its own definitely has a lot of earthy leather, pepper and spice, with a little bit of sweetness. Definitely a medium full cigar. The drink is bringing out more of the earthy sweetness. I'm going to say that it's hiding some of the spice and pepper for me. So it's bringing out a lot more of the earth, wood, and the natural sweetness of the cigar. I really love this. I've been smoking this for a long time. Probably the last, 5 or 6 years off and on. So I really, really like this cigar very much.
Nick, what about yourself?
Well, as a Nicaraguan puro, that's what you said it was, right?
Yes.
As a Nicaraguan puro, it's a fantastic.
You like it because it's Nicaraguan puro.
Yes, I do. With the cocktail, you bring out more of the sweetness, and with the bitters that I used aromatic bitters. It's bringing out more of leather tones in there,
right?
Some sweetness, and you definitely get the spice on the retrohale. And it's a fantastic smoke. I've been smoking this for a long time, and it's their flagship on My Father platform, and it's a fantastic cigar. A lot of people buy it, and if you haven't had one, you need to have one. It's great.
Dave, what do you think?
I'm really enjoying like the earthy, leathery, a little bit of cocoa. I do get a little bit of maybe like a dark cherry in like the undertone. For me, the full roses is really bringing out the retrohale, making it very spicy. Mm-hmm. It's a very smooth cigar, a lot of room smoke. I love the aftertaste of the cigar. It's all that like that cocoa leathery mix is just fantastic. I give it 2 thumbs up. I love it.
We call that aftertaste the finish. That's what's called the finish of the cigar. The taste that's left in your mouth after it's done. Kendra, you are a master of making old fashions. You make them out of everything. Do you still like your old fashioned after having had this Le Bijou Torpedo?
I do. I would complementary pairing for sure. Yeah, I feel like the longer I've smoked the cigar, it's gotten smoother, and I'm enjoying the pairing more. Initially, I thought it might pair better with a scotch, probably because of the spiciness. I feel like the sweetness of my drink maybe wasn't the right pairing, but I think the more that I'm enjoying it, it's working better.
Why are people calling twins after we're closed?
No idea, but you're frozen again, Danny. Bree, your mic is muted. Oh, there, it's not muted anymore.
Oh, there we go.
All right, Bree. So, what do you think about the pairing? What do you think about the cigar, young lady?
What I love about this particular cigar, aside from the beautiful aesthetic of the wrapper and the way that it ashes, as it goes along, that pepper, it completely fades and it turns into something completely different. It's really smooth now, especially in
Kendra needs to mute her mic.
All right, Bree, you want to say that again?
Yeah. So what I was saying, what I love about this cigar.
We're still getting a huge echo from you from multiple mics that are on and catching everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Kendra needs her headset.
Solved. Yeah. So aside from the wrapper, which is very, very aesthetically pleasing, and the ash, which I haven't had any problems with really having to relight the cigar at all so far, I like how the pepper is just enough to the background in conjunction with the cocktail, where now I wouldn't even say it's complete creaminess, but it's just a smooth smoke. You don't get that unpleasant dry aftertaste that you get from some cigars. I don't have anything negative to say at all about this smoke.
Well, I like this cigar very much. It's not really so much complex as it is consistent. It's those flavors of earth, cocoa, leather, maybe a little bit of that cherry kind of sweetness that Dave was saying is all through the cigar from start to finish. If you like a medium plus cigar and you like that little bit of Nicaraguan spice, you're going to really like this cigar here. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to switch to our pipe tobacco review, and what we're going to do is we are going to be smoking this Squadron Leader. Squadron Leader is tobacco by Samuel Gawith, and this is one of those tobaccos that is hot right now.
Is it?
It is hot. Everybody wants to get this tobacco. It's very, very hard to find. It's one of those things that, when they show up at online websites, it's often gone almost as soon as the stuff gets there. It's very, very hard to find. And this is one of Gawith's most popular blends. It's one of their most popular English blends. Let me give you a little bit of information about this tobacco. There's nothing that's written on the tin, on the front or the back, about this tobacco.
It has too many warning labels.
It has lots of warning labels, yes. But if you go to the tobaccoreviews.com website, it has something that probably was on the tin at one point. It says bright and dark Virginias blended together with Latakia and Turkish leaf to make this a cool medium. Squadron Leader is an English blend. It's named in honor of the Royal Air Force pilots in England who flew the Gloucester Gladiator biplanes in the early days of the Second World War. Samuel Gawith has been making tobacco since 1792. There's no flavoring in this. It's a ribbon cut tobacco. It comes very, very wet in the tin, just opening it up. It needs some drying time before you light it up. Otherwise, you're going to really struggle with it. And for the pairing with this, Kendra, the potion master, decided on various bottles of Founders beer. You want to talk a little bit about the Founders blends that we're going to be drinking here?
Yeah.
So let's see. I know that there's Backwoods Bastard.
That's what I have.
Ale. Yep.
That's fitting.
And Lisa has Dankwood, which was a red IPA aged in bourbon barrels. Dave has a strong ale aged in rum casks. And
Barrel runner.
Yep. And then Paul and Bree have a barley wine. What else? Oh, Dan. Dan has the Old Curmudgeon's Better Half. And I don't recall which one what that was aged in, but I know it's Old Curmudgeon. I think it's maple. That one has a maple finish. And for me, I'm drinking Guinness 200th anniversary, which is a higher ABV Guinness.
Oh, that sounds nice.
So
you had to be different.
I did.
Kendra, did you give me this because you thought that looked like me on the label?
Yes.
Yeah, it's you and Mandy eating
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Hence the name Old Curmudgeon, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So,
yeah, grumpy bastard.
to open up this bottle of Founders, I'm using this very unique bottle opener that I forged myself.
Oh,
Serious.
We got an old Ron Swanson here.
All right, Dan.
We got an old
Let's
Ron
see here.
Swanson. Ah, you don't put it in a glass, huh?
Well, you work with what you got.
I suppose.
I got the.
You don't have any
glass there.
glasses?
I had to go get myself a Stein.
All right. So, what do you guys think of your beer and the tobacco pairing?
Go ahead, Paul. Knock it out of.
Well, the tobacco on its own, when I did the pre-light before we started, I got a tremendous amount of dried fruit right off the bat. Nice.
Oh, your video's frozen.
All right, let me call back in.
All right. Nick, why don't you tell us about what you're tasting there?
And the tobacco or the beer?
Either would be good.
Sure. Well, the tobacco, you're getting some
tobacco notes.
Yes. I don't know why, but I'm getting some tobacco notes. But when I first lit it up, you get a really good, a lot of spice in the retro, and you get some really nice sweetness out of it. But when I take a sip of the beer, it is the beer. When I take a sip of the beer, it kind of it blends everything together nice and evenly. Really nice complexity there. Excuse me. And you don't really get any one of the sweetness or the spice a lot. You don't get it because I had the tobacco earlier, and with the tobacco on itself, you can kind of pick out and everything be presented at once. With the beer, it blends everything together really, really well. Kind of makes it really complex.
What about yourself?
So the barley wine is a very high ABV. Has a lot of maltiness, lots of hops, lots of intense fruit. So I think with the barley wine, it's actually hiding a lot of the sweetness from the tobacco. I'm picking up a lot of earthy notes, some nice spice in the retro hill, but that's pretty much all I'm picking up. I think the barley wine might be a little bit too much for the tobacco.
Kendra, what about you? What are you thinking about this?
So I don't recommend a Guinness with this tobacco. I enjoyed my pipe more so yesterday. I'm not sure quite what it is, but I think that this beer is kind of just masking a lot of the flavors that I was picking up yesterday. I don't even know if I'm going to have that special retrohale today.
You should retro and see if it comes back.
Now, Bree, you got yourself a pipe for this podcast. You have been smoking a pipe for about 24 hours, and this is one of your first tobaccos, this tobacco that I have people calling for, people looking for, people asking for, who can't find it anywhere, and you are smoking it. What do you think, and how do you like your Savinelli Condale that Darth Piper talked you into?
So I definitely was not anticipating buying. I'm happy I did. This is my Savinelli. I was drawn to the long, elegant design. As for the tobacco, it's interesting because just like Kendra, I'm getting completely different flavors than I did yesterday. Yep. I'm not sure if it's because of the cigar before and the cocktail, but my initial hit on this tobacco was beef jerky. It was good. But it was beef jerky. And it's kind of, I'm still getting the leathery aroma, and I'm still getting like smoky smoothness behind it, but the flavors definitely changed from yesterday, and I do feel like the beer it almost complements it in a way where I'm not sure if it's masking it or complementing. But it's an admirable pairing.
An admirable pairing. Very good. David, what about you?
Oh, sorry, it's just taking a pull off the pipe there. The my Founder's Barrel Runner is going very well with the tobacco. It's bringing out a lot of that mesquite smokiness, or I guess that spiciness you would get from, like, a pepper jerky. It's going really well. I think it's a good pairing. Good job, Kendra.
Yeah, Kendra gets a little love from Dave there. Nick, what about you?
Oh, it's kind of blending everything together. You definitely get the pepper on the retrohale, but the sweetness has died down a little bit, and it's the sweet pepper notes that you get from it are kind of blended together with the drink. The drink is a little on the heavier side, and it is kind of masking it together at the same time, but it's, as you continuously smoke the pipe, you're still getting some of that sweet and spicy notes in there too. So it's good. I think this would be a little bit better with the cocktail.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nick. I think the pipe tobacco probably needs a cocktail, maybe similar to what we had with the cigar, for us to be able to really enjoy the flavors of this tobacco the way it was meant to be.
Yeah, like you still get some hints of sweetness, and you get the spice on the retrohale. But I think the beer is a little bit too heavy for the tobacco. The tobacco, for me, is trying to keep up with the beer, and the beer is just so bold, so flavorful. It's having a hard time keeping up with it.
Well, my experience is a little bit different. I mean, when I take a pull from the beer, the flavors are very, very strong, but the finish of the beer, in my case, this Old Curmudgeon Better Half, really brings out the sweetness of the Virginias for me. And I'm really digging how it's pairing with this tobacco. English blends are not my favorite. I like them in small quantities, but there's a lot of spice and pepper on the retro here, and there's a nice savory spice and some sweet and sour on the palate. You can really taste the Virginias, I think, and the did you say there was maple in my beer, Kendra? Yeah. Okay. So I think that's what. Yeah, mute it. I don't want people to listen to me. I just want them looking at me. I just want to look good. Don't want to say nothing. But the beer's really bringing out the Virginia for me, and that's really, really nice, smoking this tobacco here. I'm smoking it in this fourth generation church warden, and really, really enjoying it. For me, I think in this particular pipe, the tobacco is performing a little bit stronger than it would if it were in a bigger bowl for me.
Yeah, I have a bigger bowl. I have a Trevi 3. Is it a Trevi 320?
Yeah.
That I have. So my bowl is quite big. So it's not as concentrated, I suppose.
I have a very big bowl.
I do. My bowl is extremely girthy.
Girthy.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I like big bowls, and I cannot lie.
We can't deny.
I cannot.
So, as we're like, a month into this whole COVID-19 shutdown stuff, where we've all been kind of trapped in our homes, one of the things that we've been doing here that I'm sure lots of people have been doing everywhere is binge watching TV shows on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, or whatnot. What are some of the shows that you have been binge watching?
We've been binge watching Ozark.
Oh, yeah.
Ozark. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we're almost through the second season. We've been binge watching it for the last week, and it's a really great series. If you haven't watched it, I recommend it highly.
Yeah, I agree.
My wife loves that show.
I second that notion.
Yeah, my wife loves that show. I'm kind of binge watching anything anime.
Anything anime?
Did you watch Castlevania, Nick?
I haven't. That's on my list. I've been.
You gotta get to that.
I've been catching up on One Punch Man and My Hero Academia, SAO, stuff like that. So,
have you watched the Seven Deadly Sins?
Seven Deadly Sins? I have not watched that one.
Oh, that's good.
That's
a very Nick show.
Is it?
Yeah.
You would love it, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check that one out.
Kendra, what about you? Are you binge watching anything?
So I also enjoy Ozark. I just finished season 3, but another older show that I'm really enjoying is Vikings. Has anyone seen Vikings?
No, I haven't.
It
Seen
has
that.
that Game of Thrones vibe.
Yep, it does. Bree, what about you? What are you binge watching?
Oh man, a lot. Definitely. So I started Ozark last week, and I'm obsessed with it. For a start, other than that, I've been binge watching a ton of horror movies on Hulu. Particularly a bunch of movies by this production company called Into the Dark. Yeah, and other than that, I think just a lot of Ancient Aliens.
Ancient aliens.
Ancient aliens.
They're out there.
They are.
Any X-Files?
I've been binge watching the X-Files. Look at that! I've frozen again.
You're frozen, bro.
Oh, you're good.
I'm good. Are you sure, Dave? I've been binge watching the X-Files.
Yeah.
I'm on season 9 right now. I'm wicked pumped to be this far into it.
How many seasons did the X-Files run for?
11 in total.
Nice.
And that includes the new ones, the new seasons that they've done.
Wow.
What was I going to say? Oh, if you like the horror stuff, Bree, do you like the stuff like Ash versus the Evil Dead and stuff like that?
I am on the hunt for more horror shows because I feel like horror movies, they pop up, but recommendations for horror shows, absolutely, yes, please.
All right.
How about It 1 and 2?
1 and 2, the classics.
Yeah. Yeah. You can also, what is it? Deliver Us from Evil. Another good one.
No, haven't seen that one.
There you
Any
go.
of the rings?
What's that?
Any of the Ring?
The Ring? Oh, that's like way, way, way long ago. Yeah, of course.
There you go. Those are
you know,
classics.
the creepy hair, like woo.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, if you like the classic horror stuff, one of the great shows to binge watch is Penny Dreadful. Have you ever seen that?
I've seen that pop up on Netflix. That's Netflix, right?
Yeah, Netflix has that. That's a very well done show. If you like that kind of stuff.
Another good series is Dexter.
Oh my goodness, Dexter is amazing.
Yeah. Heather says you should watch Shudder.
Thank you,
That's
Heather.
a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard I've been trying to figure out I forget what movie it was, but I know somebody told me it's on Shudder, and I've been meaning to sign up for that platform just to watch that. But also, it's good to know that there's more out there.
Oh, there's a bunch out there.
Well, one of my favorite comedy horror shows is Stan versus Evil on Hulu. That is a freaking awesome show. It is funny and it's horrible all at the same time. It's great. You need to watch that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, what's our final verdict here on this Samuel Gawith Squadron Leader? Paul, what do you think? Is this your new favorite tobacco?
No, it's not really, Dan. No, it's. I've been trying to keep the beer at bay so I can enjoy the tobacco on its own. Like I said, it's got some nice dry fruit, some nice spice on the retrohale. I think my palate might be a little bit overblown with the cigar and drink we had before. So I'm not really picking up all the great flavors that I expected this tobacco to have, but I still can pick up some of that nice spicy sweetness from it. I think it's really good.
Now, you had thought that we were going to have the cocktail with the tobacco. Do you think it would have gone better with this, or do you think it would have gone better with the cigar?
I thought the cocktail would have gone better with the tobacco and the beer with the cigar. That's my opinion.
Nick, what about you?
I think it really could have gone either way.
Hi,
Hey,
Nick.
How you doing? I think I would probably have to agree with Paul. The cocktail probably would have went better with the tobacco because of the medium body of the tobacco. The beer probably would have went a little bit better with the cigar because the cigar is a little bit heavier. You definitely get more of the heavier leathery notes in the cigar, and I think the beer would have been. I think it would have went well with the cigar. For me right now with the tobacco, it kind of overshadows the tobacco a little bit. You still get some flavor out of the tobacco. You get some sweet notes. You definitely get some spice on the retrohale. But overall, I would say probably not. I think the beer is a little bit too heavy for the tobacco.
Dave, what about you?
I feel like it could have gone either way. I'm enjoying the pairing with the beer with the pipe tobacco. I think it's bringing out the Virginias and getting a lot of spice in the mouthfeel. I'm enjoying it very much. I feel like it would be interesting to try it reverse. I think it would go just as well.
Bree?
I'm all getting a lot of spice in the mouthfeel. I do kind of wish I had a solid palate cleanser between the first cigar and cocktail. And I think I would personally prefer a cocktail with this tobacco. However, I feel like the cocktail also went good with this cigar. I do feel like very soothing, and it kind of rounds out all the flavors. It might be kind of taking precedence after each puff.
Mm-hmm. Kendra, what about you? You're liking the pipe, I know. How do you think it's going with your beer?
Really drinking the beer too much anymore because I don't think it was an amazing pairing. I thoroughly enjoy this tobacco. I love the leather notes that I get, and I am still getting the same retrohale as yesterday with no alcohol involved. So that, I would say, is kind of like your granddad's aftershave and body odor.
Oh boy!
I feel like I'm smoking my
I'll
grandfather's sweat.
Oh,
that's
that's
what
hot.
I think, people.
Well, here's Lisa. Are you still with us?
I'm still with you, yes.
What's your thoughts on this Squadron Leader and what you're drinking?
Well, you know how I felt about it earlier today.
Yes, I do.
I actually beer helped me like it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot smoother tonight than it was earlier today. But this is also my first time smoking a pipe, so I don't know if that's just the reason why it's very foreign to me. So I'm trying to learn to like it, I guess you could say. But the beer definitely helped.
Danny has left the building. Hopefully he comes back.
Yeah. He lives on the edge of doom in Havel, right on the Merrimack River, and he's got a mountain of rock behind him. So it's hell for internet and cellular service alike.
Well, I live in the woods, so can't be that.
No, he lives nowhere near the city. He's on the outskirts. He's right near the Amesbury line. I am absolutely fantastically in love with this tobacco, though. This is definitely one of my top 5 now, though. How do you feel about it?
The tobacco in itself? I had the tobacco earlier. I haven't had the Squadron Leader in a few months, and I wanted to refresh my memory on the taste of the Squadron Leader. And I had some earlier, and it was a fantastic by itself. It was fantastic. You get a lot of sweetness, a lot of stewed fruits. You get an awesome retrohale with the spice. I was describing it to Paul earlier as you get the sweetness up front, and then the latakia, the spice, kind of pushes the sweetness out of the picture, and the spice comes in on your palate and says, "Hey, here I am." So, I think the drink that I have, which is the Backwoods Bastard, is a really good drink. I think the drink on its own is really good, and I think the tobacco on its own is really good. But together, I probably wouldn't go with it again. I'd probably go with something lighter, maybe an ale, maybe another cocktail, or maybe even actually, you know what? I'm gonna try a little Bacardi 8. If I can turn the ball around, I'm gonna have some of this and see how it goes with the tobacco.
There you go.
Why am I not surprised?
Because you shouldn't be surprised at this point.
Yep. I think I'm probably the only one then that really likes how the beer went with the tobacco, and that may be
really
because
did.
it's a sweeter beer with that maple to it. That really goes well with the Virginias and kind of plays really well with it. I don't think my beer would have gone as well with cigar, so I'm glad I'm having it with this. That said, I do think the cocktail would also have gone very well with the tobacco here. This is a nice kind of all-day kind of English smoke. It's not a Latakia bomb that like leaves you going, oh, I've just been hit with the smoke bomb of Latakia. But it's definitely there. And it's definitely a medium-bodied tobacco at best. So if, I have to drink the beer, which I think is a little bit over medium as far as its body goes, and then wait a second or two, and then along with the finish of the beer, if I have the tobacco here, it goes really, really well. But that's my experience with this. I like this tobacco a lot. There are English blends that I think I like a lot better than this. There's I think part of the mystique of Squadron Leader is that it's just so hard to get. But if you like English blends a lot and you want to smoke it all day without burning out your palate, Squadron Leader is one of the things that you can get to do that. And it's certainly top quality tobacco and everything. Again, I'm more of a Virginia Perique guy or a Burley guy. So Latakia is not my go-to thing anyway. So don't, take my, comments as kind of downing the tobacco. It's just not normally what I do. But I can tell it's really good quality stuff. And it's definitely worth having. I have my own tin. I have my own tin of this stuff. And when I want to smoke in English, this is one of the ones that I go for. So next week, if you're going to be smoking with us again, we're going to be doing live at 7:00 next Friday, and that's April 24th at 7:00. We're going to be doing a light evening episode, and we're going to be smoking the Rose of Sharon Lancero.
Whoa.
Which is called Corn. The Rose of Sharon Lancero. I'm very excited about that. That is a fantastic cigar. And Lanceros is a size of cigar that's very often overlooked. And I'm really excited that we're going to be smoking that. And along with that, we're going to be smoking Cornell and Deal's opening night.
Whoa.
Which is all Virginia tobacco. And very, very nice. It's a great flake that highlights just what Virginias can bring to the table in and of themselves. Virginia is a tobacco that's in almost every blend that there is. But just on its own, it can be a really, really great tobacco. And so we're going to look at that very popular blend from Cornell and Deal last week, see what all the fuss is about, and whether or not that's something you want to have in your tobacco cellar. But from all of us to you, thank you for joining us. Thank you for smoking with us. And stay safe, stay thankful, and stay smoky, my friends.
out smoking on a fat cigar. Cool breeze in my head, bittersweet smoke flying through the air. It's the way I feel smoking on a fat cigar. Look at sweet mama watching me play guitar. She got long black hair and she's smoking on a fat cigar. Black silk stockings and the finest of wine. Those curves and that stomach, she's looking so fine. It's the way I feel smoking on a fat cigar. Fancy clothes, diamonds, and big fine cars wouldn't be the same without a big old fat cigar. Talking about the master plan.